I think one of the things that's important in language learning is this concept of those things that you focus on are what you'll end up getting good at. So I think this is true in life in general as well. I'm currently focusing on going to grow my hair a bit, and silly example perhaps, but as a result my hair is going to grow differently to if I got my hair cut at the same rate as I always did, right? So in a language, if you focus on reading, you're going to get good at reading. If you focus on speaking a lot, you're going to get good at speaking. Makes sense, right? But I think there are actually kind of subsets within that, and I've been thinking about this as it applies to my learning to read and write. What I mean by that is that one of the things that we've been discussing in these videos is the concept of prioritizing which Chinese characters you learn, because there are so many, there are thousands of the things, right? So which ones do you learn? Like, it's not really my aim to become completely literate in Chinese, you know, and so it doesn't really make sense for me to follow some academic program designed to get me to know the entirety of Chinese over the course of 5 years or whatever. So it makes sense for me to prioritize things and actually focus on doing and learn to do those things that I want to be able to do. Now, I've had this good foundation, I think, using the Heisig method to learn 500 or so characters, and that's kind of taught me a lot about the basics of writing characters, getting good balance, you know, in the kind of proportions of the characters and all those things. But what I really need to do now is to actually start to find a meaningful purpose to what I'm doing, so that I stay motivated, and more importantly, so I can actually start to use these things. And so what I've decided to do is to keep using Heisig, but most importantly, at the same time as that, focus on actually learning the characters that I'm most likely to need to actually write in Cantonese. And the situation in which I'm most likely to need to use Cantonese is actually basic text messaging. You know, sending messages back and forth on WhatsApp, WeChat, Facebook, whatever it may be. Now this, when I think back to when I learned Japanese, this was one of the main reasons that my Japanese got good, because I got to a point when I was in Japan with my friends actually texting only in Japanese, and I was far from kind of a very proficient reader, but what I could do was very, very easily read and write common basic everyday things like arranging to meet, talking about how the day was and things like that. And it didn't take all that long actually when I put my mind to it. And so I want to get to that same stage in Cantonese where I'm basically assuming that I will fairly quickly be able to learn the characters I need for basic everyday reading and writing in Cantonese. And so the procedure at this point is really, really simple. I'm using the app HelloTalk, which is really cool to do some simple conversation exchanges in written Cantonese with people in Hong Kong. And I'm kind of looking at the messages that we send back and forth, and I'm kind of looking at it and thinking, okay, which are the most common words, what's likely to come up over and over again. Simple like verbs like 可以, or nouns like 地方 or 國家. Simple kind of like very everyday Cantonese words that I'm likely to talk about. I'm looking at those, figuring out which ones are most useful, and then transferring them across to Scritter, because Skritter's got this cool thing where you can make your own lists. And now what I'm doing every day with Scritter is to actually start to write those, like learn that particular list that's based on my conversations in Cantonese. So I've got this nice kind of circular thing going on where I'm taking stuff directly from conversation and learning that. Let's see how it goes.